Why drivers are quitting Uber business? Trust me, quite a number of drivers have quitted the Uber business. I know a number of drivers who even paid their loans, owned the cars, but now they are saying that no, that's not for me. I know a team of drivers, many drivers who have quitted. And in fact, the slogan always on Uber platform, the Facebook groups, some of the WhatsApp groups, the slogan is always ukichoka jitoe. Means if you feel you are tired, just leave. Because this slogan came after drivers realized that there is nothing changing from the Uber apps, from the companies, the online companies, both Bolt, Uber, and every company. I like using the term Uber, not because this content is only about Uber, but because in Kenya, Uber was the first company to start this idea of online ride sharing apps, and with that, now all these cars are called Ubers. But this is something that is happening on both sides. Now, number one reason is that resting time. With these apps, according to their prices and what you earn plus the expenses, you have to work more to earn. So that will always make it difficult for you to rest, and you will feel most of the time you are more tired. Even within their apps, they always give only 5 hours of rest. That tells you that they know how much you have to work more and more. After resting 5 hours, that means with the fatigue, you will go there, sleep 5 hours, and start another day. So that makes it difficult to most drivers. And it is an intense work, not just a common work. Sometimes 15 hours without stopping anywhere. Number two, lack of cars. When we have few cars on the road, investors are nowhere to be seen, and some drivers, they cannot afford their own cars. They end up quitting without knowing, because you will keep looking for a car, and your bills are always coming up. Every month you have a bill, every day you have a bill to pay. So you keep waiting, oh, can I find a car to drive? Oh, can I find a car to drive? Until you find an opportunity somewhere. That means if you find an opportunity, you will just leave. You will have no option but to leave, because you cannot wait for something that you are not really sure. So with the lack of investors, we lose some drivers. Also, some people, they end up giving up. After working, you don't see anything. And also the daily income. Any money that comes daily needs a very serious accountability for you to keep going. Tiredness, lack of accountability. If you lack accountability, you end up at some point getting tired, because you feel like you are working more, you are doing nothing. At some point you work for 2,000, and that 2,000 you end up spending all of it. Tomorrow we'll go again, 2,000, you spend all of it. So at some point with this job, you have to work to live within your means. If you cannot live within your means, at some point you will give up. You end up giving up, because you will work year in, year out, 2 years, 3 years, nothing. All you have at some point is that car that you paid loan, and after loan you thought you will buy the second car, nothing. You end up eating everything. So that also will make most drivers give up. Sometimes also about the income. You have a car to pay. You pay this car. After 4 years, the car is very old. It cannot even give you another car. What will you do? You quit. And some people, they join this business with the help of videos. You know, some drivers, The reason why some of the drivers, they also quit. Some drivers quit because while joining, they don't do a due diligence. You don't investigate. You just pass through the YouTube, TikTok, and you find a lot of false content. We have a lot of false content. I've seen a lot of them from the customer side and even from the driver's side. Some people, they'll tell you, I work for 10,000, I work for 5,000, and you end up feeling that, this is a good business. If I can work the whole day for 5,000 Kenya shillings, this is a good business. But when you find yourself on the road, you will realize at some point it is not easy. It is tough. Because some people, most of us, most people, they quit jobs to join Uber. And after quitting your job, that's when you realize, no. Because I have a friend who did that. He was paying his rent at 24,000. A rent of 24,000. Then he went to buy a Daimio. He went for a Daimio, quitted the job, came to hustle here. But after 4 to 5 months, the guy was like, no, this is too much. I don't have even time. I used to have time in the evening. I used to have my time in the evening from 4 p.m. or sometimes even 3:30, I would be home. Or even sometimes 5. Because this guy was was working with a car selling company. He was working with I think he was working at a yard. So at the yards, most of the time, everything is done early, from 8 to 5. Or it's like you are working, but also you have freedom, because some of these jobs, car dealership, you can do it through phone, text. And when a client wants to see the car, he will go to the yard. You will direct him to the yard, and he will find other people. You understand? So at some point, you can even stay home. But when this guy came online as an Uber driver, he realized that there is no freedom. You don't have time to stay home, time to relax. No. The bills, impossible. 24,000 per month on rent, Uber cannot pay that. So this guy ended up losing, though the car was cash, so he had the car, but he had to quit. So do your due diligence. Before joining Uber business, do your due diligence. Follow up. Understand how much. And also calculate at home. Don't just go with the 5,000, and after realizing that you get that 5,000, but after how long and for how many hours of work? You understand? And what are the expenses? And what are your bills at home? That will keep a driver on the road. So most drivers, they join without doing the due diligence to understand what is happening. So after a few days, they end up quitting. Another thing is that vehicle problems. We use these cars a lot, and that makes it difficult to maintain them. So if you fail to maintain your car, you end up trying any other thing. And also at some point, most drivers, they feel like spending 1 million. This is after you have joined. That's when you realize, after spending 1 million on an investment, this investment is giving me less. What will you do? You quit. Because these cars, most of them are now almost 1 million. Let's say 1 million plus insurance. So after you have joined, that's when you realize, no, the return here is very low. So you have to quit. Some of the drivers also, while working for someone, you realize that, let's say, for example, you work for 20,000 a week, which is not mandatory. Most of the time, you will find yourself with around 15. So let's calculate you're working for someone and you work for 20,000. I want to keep it high at 20,000. You work for someone for 20,000. Then in your house, bundles and making calls, bundles and credit will be around 100 shillings, 150. Then the owner of the car wants around 10,000. That means you are left with 10. Out of this 10, your house will definitely go with maybe 3,000. You understand? 20,000 is not mandatory here. But from 15 and below, if you work hard, it is possible. But now with that 15, maybe 10,000 to the owner of the car, to your boss, and 5,000 per day. That means 3,500. 500 per day, which is 3,500 in a week for your house. Small bills and all that. You have not counted on rent. This is food. So if you follow it very well, you realize that after paying, giving food to your family, you end up having nothing. After paying the owner of the car, let's say you work for 20 or 15, after paying the car at 10K, now your bills will range per week. An average house will always go with 5,000 per week in 7 days. 5,000 minus credit and bundles, you understand? And also plus other bills, rent, all that. You end up working for your bills and the owner of this car. So you will have nothing like saving, nothing for emergency, nothing. So after some few days, you work, and you realize that, no, this job, I'm working for nothing. You have nothing for yourself. So that's why most drivers, they end up quitting after a few days. After a few months, few years, they quit because everything is within your... And if you think what you are seeing online, like working for 10, let's say working for 5,000 a day is true, I want you to check the adverts on Bolt app. Most adverts nowadays, they say log in to our app and earn up to 17,000 per week. Budget that 17,000 very well. First, start with your rent. Second, go to what you eat at home every day. Also go for credit and bundles at around 200. And also once you left home, you cannot come back for lunch. So your lunch will be catered for within that 17,000, and give the owner of the car something. You will realize that it is not easy. You will realize that 17,000 is a small money compared to someone working as a mamba mboga who has invested around 5,000 and earning 1,000 per day. That guy makes a lot of money than you, the Uber driver. Not a lot of money in counting, but the profit margin. Her profit is a bit higher than the Uber driver. The Uber driver, 17,000, will still cater for many things. So it's like Mama Mboga gets the 5,000 easily than you. You understand? So before you join, do a due diligence so that you don't give up. Some people, they give up even before paying their loans. And if you give up before you are done with the loan, that car will go and you will lose a lot of money. So it needs a lot of due diligence. And don't just go with these people online. Go straight. Do your due diligence. And if you want to understand any business, go with one thing: disadvantages. Don't go with the advantages. Look at the disadvantages. Where with the disadvantage, we have very few people who will give you the disadvantages of Uber. Most people, they talk of advantages and advantages. Go with the disadvantages. Thank you.